Hi friends and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about spring movies. I feel like spring movies don't get enough credit. I feel like a lot of movies, and not all of these movies necessarily take place during the spring, but they feel very springy. I don't have any like horror movies on here, so if you're a horror movie fan, I apologize. My channel is very much so about like horror movies. I feel like that's mostly what I talk about, but honestly, I want to branch out and like talk about some other things. So, let's talk about spring movies today. Starting off strong with A Bug's Life. This one is like this one is spring in itself. Like, it's very indicative of spring because it, talks about renewal in life and things like that. But if you are unfamiliar, it's an animated film. I believe it's a Pixar film, but it's described as on behalf of oppressed bugs everywhere, an inventive ant named Flick hires a troop of warrior bugs to defend his bustling colony from a horde of freeloading grasshoppers led by the evil-minded Hopper. And that, I think, is a pretty good description. It's about Flick and his adventure, and he finds this group of like a ragtag group, sort of other bugs who are like bigger and better, and they all combined they can help fight off Hopper and all the other grasshoppers. So, yeah, it's a fun movie. It's really cute, and it's there's very clearly like a social undertone to it, like a social commentary undertone. Like, it's very much there. So I think that this is a great movie to rewatch if you forgot that it has a little bit of social commentary in there. Like, it definitely reflects capitalism. Number two is another bug movie, and you're gonna laugh because this movie is kind of ridiculous, but it's Bee Movie. I love this movie. I know a lot of the lines because I think this movie's hilarious. I think Jerry Seinfeld is funny as like a writer. I don't know if he's funny as a comedian, but like as a writer, I think he's funny. But it's about Barry B. Benson, I believe. He decides to go on an adventure outside of his hive because he wants to see the world before he gets locked into his one and only job for the rest of his life in the hive. And upon leaving the hive, he meets a woman, a florist, and he wants to get justice for bees everywhere. He wants to get the honey back in the honeycombs back in the hives. So he sort of goes on this little adventure to stop the exploitation of bees by humankind. And it's pretty crazy, but it's funny, and there's flowers in it, so it's a cute movie. The next one is kind of a sad one, but I think this movie screams spring to me, because I feel like the newness of friendship just kind of feels like the newness of spring, and that's the movie Bridge to Terabithia. Oh goodness, if you know why it's sad, you know, but if you don't, then I highly recommend watching it because it's a great movie about friendship. But as Letterboxd describes it, Jesse Aarons trained all summer to become the fastest runner in school, so he's very upset when newcomer Leslie Burke outruns him and everyone else. Despite this and other differences, including that she's rich, he's poor, she's a city girl, and he's a country boy, they become fast friends. Together, they create Terabithia, a land of monsters, trolls, ogres, and giants where they rule as king and queen. It's such a good movie. It has what's his name? Josh Hutcherson and Anna Sophia Robb. They're cute together in this movie. It's such a sweet movie. The next movie is one that has to do more with like the seasons changing, even though it has more of a wintry vibe because of like the context. I think it still has to do with spring, and that is Groundhog Day, a classic. If you like time loop movies, if you like, yeah, I think Triangle. If you like Triangle but don't want the horror elements, this is it, because Groundhog Day was like the OG time loop movie where you're stuck in the same day. It has, what is his name? Yeah, it has Bill Murray in it. It's a 1993 movie. It is described as a narcissistic TV weatherman, along with his attractive but distant producer and his mawkish cameraman, is sent to report on Groundhog Day in the small town of Punxsutawney, where he finds himself repeating the same day over and over. It's a cute movie. It's, kind of about getting out of your own head, about, again, like he's narcissistic, so he's very much full of himself. So it's about getting out of your head, caring about other people, about just stopping to smell the roses and take it one day at a time. So the next film is another film about change and about newness, and this film is Eat, Pray, Love. It's a pretty well-known film. It's a 2010 film. I believe it was also a book first. This one has a long description, but Liz Gilbert had everything a modern woman is supposed to dream of having: a husband, a house, and a successful career. Yet, like so many others, she found herself lost, confused, and searching for what she really wanted in life. Newly divorced and at a crossroads, Gilbert steps out of her comfort zone, risking everything to change her life, embarking on a journey around the world that becomes a quest for self-discovery. In her travel, she discovers the true pleasure of nourishment by eating in Italy, the power of prayer in India, and finally, and unexpectedly, the inner peace and balance of true love in Bali. You get the idea that like traveling can sometimes open your mind to new things, and new experiences always just help you recenter and just understand yourself better. And so I think that going on the journey of watching this movie is a great idea. The next film is an important film because I think we could all learn a lot from it, but it is The Lorax. I think it's very indicative of springtime and also just of nature. I think spring is really about nature and about loving nature and the environment, and this is a great movie about loving the environment and learning to love it. It is described as a 12-year-old boy searches for the one thing that will enable him to win the affection of the girl of his dreams. To find it, he must discover the story of the Lorax, the grumpy yet charming creature who fights to protect his world. I just remember liking this movie. I love Danny DeVito. I think he has a great voice, and so he does a great job as the Lorax, and he kind of looks like the Lorax, so it's even funnier. But yeah, it's a great little movie, and it's animated. The next film is like such a great film. It's based on a book, I believe, and I don't know, it's one of those just like classic stories that I think most little girls watch and kind of dream for themselves, and it's The Princess Diaries. Every girl wants to discover that she's like somehow a princess by some means, and this is that story. It's about Mia. She is a 15-year-old girl who discovers that she is actually the princess of Genovia, but she doesn't really act or look like a princess, and so her grandmother tries to help her start to act and look like a princess, and she also has to decide if she's going to take over the country or not, like if she's going to take control of it. So it's just a fun movie about, generational differences as well as like class differences, and just how that plays out and how we act and what we look like and things like that. So I don't know, it has Anne Hathaway and she's just gorgeous no matter what. So yeah, it's a fun movie. The next film is a love story. I love a good like Cinderella type story. I think it's actually a really great spring type of movie if you've ever seen like the knockoff Cinderella stories. I forget what it's called exactly, like what company it's by, but they did one that I loved so much as a kid. I'll have to find it at some point, but I loved that movie, like that Cinderella movie. I just don't know what it was called. But this is another Cinderella type movie. It stars Drew Barrymore. It's called Ever After. And I don't know, it's just, if you're in the mood for something romantic and cute, This is it. It It is described as Danielle, a vibrant young woman, is forced into servitude after the death of her father when she was a young girl. Her stepmother is a heartless woman who forces her to do the cooking and cleaning while she tries to marry off the eldest of her two daughters to the prince. But of course, things take a turn when, under the disguise of visiting the royals, she meets the Prince Henry. So it's just a cute little movie, and it has like a young sort of Drew Barrymore, and she just looks gorgeous in this movie, and she kind of has this tomboyish nature to her as well. Like there's yeah, I just feel like she has this hard-headedness that I really like in my Cinderellas. So I don't know. This movie is really cute, and it has like kind of an accuracy to it. Like it's not just like big blue princess Cinderella dress. It's like, you know, supposed to be accurate of the time. The next film is one of my favorite films. I love this film. It it has Steve Martin in it, of course, so like you know it's gonna be funny and weird and quirky. And that, of course, is the movie Cheaper by the Dozen. This is a 2003 movie. It's about the Baker family, and of course, they have 12 kids. That's the whole point, Cheaper by the Dozen. In the first movie, it's about their dad and them moving. So their dad gets a job as this, like, I think he's a coach. Yeah, he gets a job coaching football at a university, and all of the children have to move and transition into, you know, a new place and everything, and that's just really tough for all of them. Like, you know, it's tough for one or two children to have to move somewhere, but the way that 12 children react to it is just kind of crazy. So, you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. If you kind of like fart type of humor, there's some of that in there. So if that is of interest to you. But it is a sweet movie. It has a lot of heart, and I think it's just a good movie for springtime because, you know, there's a lot of change that happens to the people in this movie. And if you're someone who doesn't like change, then like springtime is the time to try change. But also, I feel like, you know, watching other people go through changes can sort of help you get through your own. The next film is a sweet little film that I remember when this film came out that a lot of people really liked it, but it is The Odd Life of Timothy Green. It's a 2012 film. It's described as a childless couple bury a box in their backyard containing all of their wishes for an infant. Soon a child is born, though Timothy Green is not at all what he appears. So, yeah, that is what it is described as. The sort of nature vibe of like him growing out of a box sort of thing is very indicative of spring, and so I just think that it would be a great spring movie. Another movie about a family. This one has Steve Carell in it and Toni Collette. It has a lot of good people in it. It also has itty bitty Abigail Breslin. I love seeing her in movies where she's a kid, like on, I think she's in Nim's Island. That was a good movie. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Little Miss Sunshine. It's a 2006 film. I love a good quirky family, and that's what this film is about. It is described as a family loaded with quirky, colorful characters piles into an old van and road trips to California for little Olive to compete in a beauty pageant. Super cute. Again, and I know like road trip movies are usually more like summertime type of things, but I definitely think that this movie could be a good spring movie. The next film is for those of you who want something that's maybe a little less happy-go-lucky, but like turns out to be a little bit more like dark than you thought. And that is the 1998 film The Truman Show. I love this film. I think it's such a great film. I think a lot of people don't really know like the behind the scenes of like, I guess, reality shows and things like that, or like how I feel like me being a film kid, I just really like this movie because there's a lot of like film related and TV related things that just like makes it feel like something that feels familiar to me. But if you haven't seen The Truman Show, it is about Truman, and he doesn't know that he is being recorded at all times, all day, on air for the world to view. So it is described as every second of every day from the moment he was born for the last 30 years, Truman has been the unwitting star of the longest running, most popular documentary soap opera in history. The picture perfect town of Sea Haven that he calls home is actually a giant soundstage. His friends, family, and everyone he meets are actors. He lives every moment under the unblinking gaze of thousands of hidden TV cameras. So, yeah. And it sounds kind of dark, and it is a little bit, but it's also like very. The ending screams spring to me. Like, the ending is like what makes it a springy type movie to me, is just about learning about oneself and newness and exploring the world, and like that's what this movie is about. The next film is another romantic film. This one has Will Smith in it, and you may know what one I'm talking about, and that's the movie Hitch. If you haven't seen it, it's a pretty good movie, and I mean, it's very much a romantic comedy. Like, it is what it is, but I definitely think this one's a good one for spring. I think that a lot of romantic comedies are good for spring because they like talk about the newness of relationships and like some of the hardships that you have in relationships and how to get through them. And I feel like this is one of those ones that is, up there with that, but it's a pretty classic film. Dating coach Alex Hitchens mentors a bumbling client, Albert, who hopes to win the heart of the glamorous Allegra Cole. While he makes progress, Hitch faces his own romantic setbacks when proven techniques fail to work on a tabloid reporter digging for dirt on Allegra Cole's love life. When Sarah discovers Hitch's connection to Albert, it threatens to destroy both relationships. So, yeah, it's a pretty classic rom-com, but like the story is pretty classic, but yeah, it's a good movie. The next one is one that will make you cry every time. It's a true classic. It's from 1942, and it's the film Bambi. It's classic springtime. It makes you think of spring, but it's also just really sad because Bambi has to learn so many life lessons in such a short time. It's about Bambi and his friends, and it's about life and death, and all the things in between. It's just a sweet film, but it's really sad too. Like, it's Nemo sad, where they just open with something that's just truly horrifying, but the rest of the film makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy inside. So I think it's a good film. If you're unfamiliar, I don't know how to describe Bambi without like giving away if you haven't seen it. So like, I'll just say you should watch it. It's an animated film about a deer, and he gets older and he learns about life and things with his friends in the forest. And finally, we have the 2005 film Pride and Prejudice. I will read what it says on Letterboxd because I don't know how to describe it, but a story of love and life among the landed English gentry during the Georgian era. Mr. Bennet lives with his overbearing wife and 5 daughters, but if he dies, their house will be inherited by a distant cousin whom they've never met, so the family's future happiness and security is dependent on the daughters making good marriages. So, yeah, it's about love, it's about marriage, it's about the hardships of being in the Georgian era. But that is all the films that I have for you. Hopefully one of these films, piqued your interest. I feel like there's a lot of good spring films out there, so definitely in the comments down below you should leave any recommendations or any more spring films that you really like to watch during the springtime, and hopefully you enjoy the springtime and enjoy the newness of all the flowers blooming and the rainy days. So yeah, that is all I have for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.